Hi everyone, welcome to Lola's Frugal Life. This is episode number 203. Today we're going to be talking about getting things done 5 minutes at a time. So please stick around for a few quick words from our sponsor and we'll get right into the show. So before we get into the episode, really quick, I'd love to have conversations with you guys about these topics and continue the discussions outside of me just speaking in the podcast. So I'd love to have you come join our private listener group on Facebook. It's at facebook.com/groups/Lola's Frugal Life. I always announce it at the end of the episode, but honestly, of course, I don't know how many of you stick it out all the way through to the very end. So I just wanted to put this up front just to make sure you know it's there. Please come join us there. It's a great group of people. And you can also follow me at Lola's Frugal Life on Instagram if you'd like to reach me there also. Thanks. Okay, so before we get into today's episode, I have two things I want to go over real quick. One is a contest that I am running for the month of June 2021. I am running a contest, a giveaway. It's not a contest really, it's a giveaway. A $5 Amazon gift card giveaway. That's all I can afford right now, so I know it's not a lot, but hey, you could still get something for $5 or put it towards something that you want to buy. So there's two ways to enter the contest. The first way is to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to the show and screenshot the review and email it to me. And the second way is to screenshot the show, like that you're listening to the show, and post it on social media, preferably Instagram, tag me in it, and then email me a screenshot of the review or the Instagram or other social media share. So I need you to send me an email. It's really important you send an email because that's the only way I'll be able to get in touch with you if you win. So I'm going to be emailing you, if you win, I'm going to be emailing you the code for the digital gift card from Amazon. So email me at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com, either a screenshot of the review or a screenshot of where you shared the show on social media. And again, if you do share that on Instagram, please make sure to tag me on it. So what I'm going to do is the first week of July, once I have all the entries from June, I'm going to basically just make a list of everyone who entered in Excel, just like, list out everyone's email address and put a number next to them. And then I'm going to use the random number generator in Excel to just randomly pick a number. So I'd be really excited if we get some entries. So please go ahead and do that if you can. Okay, the second thing before we get into the topic is the frugal tip of the week, because this week's topic isn't a frugal topic. So I always like to have some little bit of frugalness in each episode. So this week's tip of the week actually came from one of the members of our private listeners group. And then I also wound up reading it on a blog post on frugal living tips within like a week of her giving this tip. So it was just kind of funny that it coincidentally I seen it twice within like a week. But the tip is to save your glass jars and use them for drinking glasses. So I thought that was such a really cool idea, and I've never done that before, but I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for any jars that I purchase that I think could make good drinking glasses and then start to save them, because it just seems like such a neat idea, like to have this kind of odd variety of glasses that you could drink from, and saving the glass and not have to buy glasses. And then if a glass breaks, who cares, because you just can save another jar. And I just thought it was a cool idea. So that's my frugal tip of the week. Okay, so for the actual topic today, I wanted to talk about the practice of using 5 minutes to help you get things done. So this method can be used for anything from sorting through bills, putting away laundry, decluttering a space, pretty much anything that there is that you need to get done. This also works well just to help get you moving on a project or a task that you've been procrastinating on. Just telling yourself that you're only going to devote a small amount of time to get moving on it can really help you get started. Because sometimes we have so many things that we need to get done that instead of doing something, we do nothing. It's basically perfectionism telling us that since we can't do it all, we just kind of give up and do none of it. So we need to remind ourselves that even though we might not be able to get everything done, we're still much better off if we at least do something. So one tip that you might want to think about in order to try and get things done in 5 minutes is to kind of make a mental note of some things that you could make some progress on in 5 minutes. Because if you have 5 minutes to spare and you decide you want to get something done quickly, you don't want to wind up wasting that time sitting there thinking about what you could be able to do. You want to kind of already have in mind a handful of things that you could just jump right into and start working on if you have 5 minutes of time. And again, you don't need to only have tasks that can be fully completed in 5 minutes. You want anything that you can either complete or even just make some progress on. So if it's like a huge project and there's no way you can even begin to attempt it in 5 minutes, then don't put that on your list. You want to put things on there that you can do a little bit of or even just complete within 5 minutes. Because just because you can't complete something doesn't mean you shouldn't at least take the time to get started on it, because every little bit you do will move you closer to getting that done. So for example, maybe you have some paperwork that needs to be filed away. Make a mental note of that or put it wherever you like to keep your to-do list. If you're putting it on a to-do list, it's probably a good idea to separately identify those items that you can just work on for a short period of time. That way, if you do have 5 minutes to work with, you're not wasting your time reading through your entire to-do list that might have a lot of other things on it that you couldn't possibly even start to work on with just a short amount of time. And then once you've identified what you want to work on, the next time you have 5 minutes available, pick one of those items and just go. Set a timer, get as much done as you can in 5 minutes. And like, for example, like using the if you had some paperwork to file example that I mentioned before, maybe you have a half an hour of reviewing and sorting to do. So during your 5 minutes, maybe you just review and file 2 documents. But now that's 2 less documents that you have to look at next time. So now instead of a half hour of work to do, now you have 25 minutes. And if you just keep doing a couple of documents each time, before you know it, you're going to have that all sorted, even though you never wound up having that half hour to sit down and go through it. And whatever you've accomplished in your 5 minutes, make sure to acknowledge it and kind of, say, wow, I can't believe I was able to get that done in 5 minutes, because that will help you remember that it was worth taking the time to do it, and it'll make it more likely for you to do it again. Because honestly, it's pretty amazing what progress you can make in just that short amount of time. And if you truly only have 5 minutes available, then make sure that you stop once your timer goes off. You don't want to set yourself behind on other things that you were supposed to do because you were making progress on something else. So if you really only have 5 minutes, set a timer, do what you can for 5 minutes, and stop. But if you do have some extra time available and you were only using this technique to get yourself motivated, then you're going to find sometimes that once you get started, you're going to have the motivation to keep going, and often you might even wind up completing the task. So if you have time, go ahead and continue if you want to do more, but don't burn yourself out. You want to keep it a positive experience so that you'll keep doing it. So you don't want to go crazy and say, I'm going to only do 5 minutes, and then you work for 3 hours and you're completely exhausted and you're like, well, I'm not doing that again. Try and keep it in short amounts of time for these little tasks. So, as busy as we can be, unless you're in an extreme situation, I think that it's safe to say that we do have 5 minutes here and there throughout the day that we could take advantage of to get a couple of things accomplished. We might not really acknowledge those small amounts of time because it doesn't seem like enough time to really accomplish much. So instead, we might do something else less productive during that time instead of trying to see what we can get done in a short amount of time. One example that I use often is finding 5 minutes while you're cooking dinner. A lot of times, maybe you're waiting for water to boil, or you're waiting for something to finish baking in the oven, or, whatever, some type of food prep that takes time where you're just kind of waiting for that next step. So as long as whatever you are cooking is safe to leave unattended, take advantage of that time and get something done. That's just one example. There's lots of times, maybe... I know sometimes if I'm kind of getting ready to go somewhere, there's those odd amounts of time where you're kind of ready to go, but you don't really want to get into anything really involved yet because you're well, I got to leave in 20 minutes. So you're just kind of hanging out. Maybe you sit down and scroll through your phone or whatever you might do. maybe instead say, hey, what can I do for 5 minutes real quick while I'm waiting for this time to pass? And, just if you're mindful of that throughout the day, often you can find little bits of time where you can squeeze something in. And I'm not saying to just make every single minute of your life work. Of course, you need to have some time to rest also. But if you're just going to sit and scroll on your phone for 5 minutes and you have a couple of really important things you would like to get done instead, maybe just take that 5 minutes to try and make some progress on something. Another example of some things, actually not another example, a bunch of examples. I was just trying to think through some things that you could get done in 5 minutes. So some things that I thought of are you could throw in a load of laundry, you could put a load of clean clothes away, you could load the dishwasher or put away some dishes, you could schedule a doctor's appointment. That's something that I always find, for me, I always wind up postponing it. I'll have a reminder on my phone that'll say, schedule annual doctor visit or whatever, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that next week, and then I'll see it'll come up next week. Oh yeah, I'll do that next week. It's just one of those things that I'm like, oh, I just don't feel like doing that. I don't know why. It's so simple to do, but it's like you have to look at your schedule and figure out when is good to go, and then do you need to make arrangements at work because you have to come in late or leave early, or you have another meeting and you can't do it at that time. I don't know why, but scheduling a doctor's appointment, I always delay it. So that would be a good one for me. If I have 5 minutes, say, okay, let me just sit down and take care of this. You could go pull a few weeds outside. You could review your checking activity or your credit card activity. You could pay a couple of bills. You could sweep the floor, wipe down the counters, dust some furniture. If you're trying to read more, you could sit down for 5 minutes and read a few pages of whatever book you're reading. You could do a little preparation for dinner that night. Maybe something needs to be chopped. I don't know. There could be something you could get ahead on for dinner. You could go through your email. I know that's one of the things that I struggle with on my phone, keeping my email cleaned up because I get so much junk mail. And then sometimes I keep it really perfect, and then other times I just kind of fall behind. So you could take 5 minutes and sort through your email, maybe respond to an email that if you have something important you have to, get back on. There's so many little things that you can get done in a short amount of time. And, one of the good things is that by getting these little things done when you have 5 minutes is that when you do have some more time available that you can devote to a more time-consuming project, you're not wasting a lot of that time with all these little things. You're just kind of getting them done throughout the week whenever you have little bits of time. So that, say maybe on the weekend you want to do a big project, maybe some gardening or going through clothes. I know I just recently had to go through seasonal clothes and put away the winter stuff and take out the summer stuff, so that takes a lot of time. So it's nice to just kind of be able to say, okay, that's kind of all I have to do today, whatever that bigger project is, because you tackled a lot of the smaller things throughout the week. But for example, though, even like I said with the seasonal clothes, so that's a huge undertaking. And there's been years where I just kept delaying it because I just didn't have a weekend that I had time to get it done. But that's something where if I was using this technique, I could have taken down the bins with the next season's clothing and maybe each day go through 1 or 2 drawers and pull out the clothes from the old season, get them ready to pack away, and take out some of the clothes from the bins and put them in the drawer. And maybe just each day do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just tackling that a little bit at a time, so that if I didn't have a whole lot of time on the weekend to get that done, I could still be making progress, and then maybe I just have to finish it up on the weekend. So it's kind of thinking about how to take these tasks that you have to do that are going to either just take a short amount of time, or those types of things that are going to take longer, that you can kind of break it down into little bits and just make little bits of progress over time, just kind of working at them. And you don't want to add this to your schedule. You don't want to add another thing to your list, I got to do 5 minutes of something, or okay, at 6 o'clock tonight I'm going to try and do 5 minutes of something. It's not about adding it as another to-do list item. It's just really about being mindful of it and kind of trying to think throughout the day when you do have time that you aren't necessarily just resting, you're just kind of like letting the time go by because you're waiting for the next thing or whatever. Just really trying to think about how you could use that time in a better way to get some things done, that you would really like to make progress on, or that you would just like to knock out. Like, even for example, last night I was going to watch a movie on Netflix, which I extremely rarely do, but I decided, like, I am just so wiped out. I just want to sit here and I'm just going to watch a movie and just relax. I'm not going to worry about the other things that I wanted to get done. So I had a basket of laundry sitting there next to me in my living room that I had brought up, that I was planning on bringing up and then bringing right to the bedroom and put away. But no, I just dropped it down and it was just sitting there. So I was about to watch this movie and I said, you know what? I had plenty of time to watch the movie. Like, it was still kind of early. Like, I had like 3-4 hours left before I would go to bed. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to take 5 minutes and I'm going to go put this laundry away. And then that way it's one less thing I have to do tomorrow when I get up. So I've been trying to be more mindful of that. And I was glad, because then this morning when I got up, it was last night. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but I didn't have that laundry to put away, and I just loaded the basket and actually threw another load in. So it just, those little bits of time can really help. And if you just get yourself up to get doing it, you'll see that it's going to make an impact in, kind of getting things done. So that's it. That's all I have to say about getting things done 5 minutes at a time, but try it out. I think you'll see it will be helpful to you. Don't forget, you can email me with any questions or suggestions, and definitely with your entries for the contest, for the giveaway. You can email me at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Lola's Frugal Life. I also have a YouTube channel where you can listen to the podcast, and I have a website, which is lolasfrugallife.com. You can also join our private listeners group at facebook.com/groups/lolasfrugallife. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe, and I would love if you'd screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram. Also, if you could take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast, that would be really helpful to me. That's always helpful to me, but especially now, since you can use that to enter into the $5 giveaway, that would be helpful to you maybe also if you win. Don't forget that I'm gonna try and do this maybe. I don't know how often I'm going to do the contest. I'm going to see how this one goes. But just don't forget, if you want to enter, the winner is going to be announced in July. So you can enter anytime through June. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a really awesome day.